Hi everybody, my name is Mike Demaro and I wanted to do this video because I know that there were some of you on Facebook that was trying to figure out why am I posting about this, why do I keep posting about this, why do I even update about this, even if it's not going to affect us here in the United States. Well, the thing is, as you probably heard, there was a hurricane this week. Its name happened to be Michael. And Michael is my birth name, so I was real excited that there was a storm named after me, or after other people named Mike or Michael, you know. It's only the second time that there has been a hurricane named Michael out in the Atlantic. The first time it happened was back in 2000. I didn't really follow it back then. But now, since we have the technology, we follow it all the time. Or I've been following it since earlier this week. Now, I know you saw some of my comments on Facebook, and I know that I've been watching the Weather Channel to see what's the latest on Michael. And I know that there's another hurricane out there named Leslie. And I kept getting upset because they would only talk about Leslie. They would not talk about Michael. I understand that Michael's not going to affect any land. But what's the point of having a tropical update if you don't talk about Michael? I understand that he's not going to affect anybody, but still, wouldn't you want to talk about the storms that are being out in the Atlantic or even out in the Pacific? You know? And don't just talk about Leslie all the time. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I hope you do. Alright, anyways. Now, I predicted earlier that Michael was going to be the storm of 2012. I predicted it was going to be the most powerful storm of 2012. I predicted that it was going to make impact to somewhere and its name was going to be retired next year. Well, I was wrong on that account, that it did not make a landfall. Or it's not planning on making landfall. It's still out in the Atlantic Ocean. But I did predict that it was going to be the most powerful storm. Yet, we're not through with the 2012 season yet. Michael is already the strongest storm out in the Atlantic. Its top wind was 115 miles per hour. It became the first major storm of the 2012 season. I know that we just talked about Isaac and how it made landfall in New Orleans, and how damageful that was, and how we in Florida here survived from Isaac, and we didn't get that much. We only got rain and wind from it, but it wasn't that bad. But anyways, when Helene formed back in early August, like around the 19th, I put on my Facebook that we'd be up to Leslie by September 10th. Leslie formed on August 30th, 11 days before my prediction. Then I also said that Michael would be formed by September 15th. And guess what? Michael became a storm on September 4th. Now, here's the thing that was bothering me earlier this week. The storm that came off Africa and became TD Tropical Depression number 13. Of course, they number it becomes a tropical depression before it becomes a tropical storm. And when it first becomes a tropical depression, it is given a number. So, just to explain that to you. And then once the winds get up to 39 miles per hour, it gets a name. But anyways, when I saw the forecast for TD number 13, it was like, it was going to be only like, it was only going to be living a short time, like a couple of days, and it wasn't going to be that powerful. It was going to be like 40 miles per hour, and then by the end of the week, it was only going to be like 25 miles per hour, and done. So I was a little upset about that. Then on my way up to work on Tuesday, I got a text message that said, Tropical Storm Michael, with the winds up to 40 miles per hour. That meant Michael is a tropical storm. We already have our end name storm of the year. That same storm, that same name storm that I predicted was going to be the most powerful one in 2012 was already going to be forming. I said, oh no, this storm is not going to last. And I was a little upset about it. But then, by Thursday, it was a 115 mile per hour storm. It was a hurricane. It was the first major hurricane. So I was a little happy about that because I predicted that Michael was going to be a powerful hurricane. You know what I mean? But I was kind of disappointed that it's not planning on making any landfall at all. Because I wanted the name Michael to be retired. I understand that this is only the second time that Michael has been formed, but yet I don't want my name to keep being a storm. God, my mom, her name is a retired storm. That name got retired in 1954, even though it was used one time in the 60s as well. But now it's an official retired name. My grandmother's name, both my grandmother's names are retired. Gloria, back in 85, hit New England. That storm name got retired. Wilma, that's my other grandmother. Her name got retired in 2005. And that was the very first time that there was a storm named with a W. So, and that was a crazy season, 2005. Anyways, I was thinking, why can't Michael be retired? Maybe in 2018, Michael will be a good storm, and Michael will have impact somewhere, make landfall. It will be a retired name too, In order for a name to be retired, just in case you were wondering, it has to be voted on by the World Meteorological Organization, the WMO, and the storm has to have a lot of damage and a lot of death. People die from it, so that's why. Now, since I predicted this, it got to thinking, why don't I get a job with the National Hurricane Center or the WMO, the World Meteorological Organization? I know I didn't go to school for that. I already have my bachelor's degree, so, and I do love to follow hurricanes that are out in the Atlantic Ocean, So, I mean, come on. I would like to forecast the hurricanes, That'd be pretty cool if I did. So, but we'll see. Maybe there might be a future. If somebody sees this video and hears me and talks about this, Now, I do love to track hurricanes. I do like to track, when Isaac was heading towards our way and all that. I was also following Joyce. I was also following Kurt. So, I like to follow hurricanes, and I like to keep track of them. Whether they make landfall in the United States, or Canada, or Mexico, or the Caribbean, whether they do or not, or whether they stay out in the middle of the ocean and not make landfall anywhere, or not supposed to make landfall anywhere, I like to follow them, and I like to predict them, I had a solid prediction back on August 19th when Helene formed that the other four storm names would be formed by September 10th, the peak of hurricane season, and then Michael to be formed by September 15th. That was pretty incredible that I predicted this. And I predicted it, well, the prediction came true 11 days early, but you know what I mean. Now, here's my prediction for the rest of the season, the rest of the hurricane season. That we are going to get up to Storm R. I predict that we will get up to Raphael. We will have a Nadine. We will have an Oscar. We will have a Patty. And we will have a Raphael. Because I see that this hurricane season's not over with yet. Now, I don't know if we'll have a Sandy. I don't know if we'll have a Tony. Most likely we're not going to have a Valerie. And most likely we're not going to have a William. But you never know, So, do keep track. Do add me as a friend on Facebook. Just write down on the message that you want to keep up to date on my hurricane updates or something, Or just let me know, Or if you're already a friend of mine on Facebook, you're all set because I'll keep you guys updated, Who knows? Someday you'll see me working at a weather organization, Maybe this is my true calling, to follow the hurricanes. I know it might be a little crazy at times, but, and I do have ideas for them too. Like one time in 2005 when all the storms were already being used, and I know we had to use the Greek alphabet. It was like, I was making a suggestion, maybe back in 2007 I made this suggestion. Why don't we just continue on the list once one storm is done with, or once one season is over with? So let's say that Michael was the last storm of this year. What I'm saying is, next year we start out with Nadine and go on. That's my suggestion. Why don't we do that so that we can use up every name? So that there will be someday will be a Hurricane William. Or someday that there'll be a Hurricane Whitney. Or once again we'll have another Vince, Well, Vince was already used in 05. I'm just saying, you know what I mean, right? So, they already do that in China. They already do that in Hawaii. Why don't we do that with this list too? There are 6 lists, and they rotate every 6 years. Why don't we just continue off where we left off, Instead of starting with A all over again. So, why don't we just start off where we left off, So we don't have to start every single year with like Anna, Arthur, Alberto, Andrea, or Andrea, whatever the pronunciation is of that name. I don't know. You know what I mean? I know it makes sense that we start off with A every single year, but, why don't we just go start off where we ended, So, that's just a thought, But anyways, thank you for watching my video, and thank you for understanding why I like to talk about Hurricane Michael so much. Happens to be my given name, so. But I like to be called Mike, so that's the way life goes, And I like to talk about storms that happen to have my name on them, so. Alright, I'll talk to you guys all later. Maybe I'll do another prediction, and maybe you'll see me do another weather video in the future. You never know. And you never know that I might work for a weather organization. Maybe the Weather Channel will hire me. But hopefully the National Hurricane Center might take my offers. I'll talk to you guys all later. Bye for now.